Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is TikTok Divorce Theater number 3, and I'm going to get into some final aspects of this seeming epidemic. So let's go ahead and look at it now.
But I didn't expect this. But my husband and I were together for 30 years. And there's a longing for that friend. A friend that I had in him. Because he knew everything about me and all my weird things and loved them. So yeah, this part of divorce sucks. If you know what that's like, you're not alone either. You can join me. We can get through this life together.
Welcome back, family. Today we are going to review this 40-plus-year-old woman who decided to leave her 30-year-old marriage because she found TikTok and thought that she was all over sudden an unhappy woman who needed to destroy her own family in order to be happy. Let's start by watching her crying while trying to justify her emotional decision of destroying a 30-year-old marriage because of some temporary feelings.
I'm walking through a divorce, and I'm speaking about it publicly for the first time. And something I don't think I've ever heard anybody speak about is how you can make the decision to divorce someone. I absolutely know it's the best thing for you, and still love that person. And be so excited about the freedom that you're going to have when you're no longer bound by marriage to that person. But also long to be with them. Couldn't see it for a really long time, but my marriage was never healthy. And for years and years, people in our circle have told me to divorce him. Because they saw things I didn't see. Because I believed in the man that he could be.
And that is what they believe. And yes, there are people that in your circle, other women, sometimes single, mostly married, who will come up and tell you to divorce your husband. You can do better. There's a better life out there. I understand this if he's an abusive person, if he's a hateful person. But I remember in the 1970s, it was a very common thing for people, especially in middle class society, where women would tell other women that you can do better, you're beautiful, you're talented. Oh, he treats you like a servant or whatever. You should leave your husband. You should divorce him. You know, get him to half his stuff and go ahead and get support or whatever. And they would do that, finally. Talk them into it. This is long before the internet, long before TikTok. And the woman would do that. After a life of being a homemaker. You'd have to divorce her husband, go out, find a job, and start paying into Social Security. She didn't understand that she had no Social Security built up or any of that. And she had to start a job with no career background. Not really. And then she found that the women who told her to get divorced, advised her to get divorced, disappeared from her circle. You know why? because they don't want a single woman, divorced woman, available woman around their husbands or boyfriends. So they stopped inviting her to parties and the week gatherings and all that. And she goes on with this. Well, let's look at this when she starts to do things.
On her so-called emancipation journey, she decided to destroy her own family because she started to get more attention on TikTok. As you may all see right now on your screen, how she literally spends most of her time dancing on TikTok for people that don't even really care about her. Now, before we watch some more tears of regret, let me first show that the real problem is that these modern women just struggle with accepting who they are on a daily basis.
Hi friends, I am coming to you tonight with a message for all of my girls, all the ladies out there who will see this. So fellas, you can stay. May work for you, may not work for you. I don't know, I'm not a man, so I don't know. But I challenge women who have struggled in relationships, who have struggled with self-love or self-doubt, who struggle with believing that they are worthy of love. I have a challenge for you, and this is it. It's something that I discovered a while back, and it took me a few weeks to believe it, but I believe it, and it has changed my life. It's changed the way I carry myself. It's changed the way I walk into rooms. And this is it. You need to stand in front of a mirror naked, and you need to speak love over your body, over your mind, of your soul. You need to stand in front of that mirror and know that you are worthy of love simply because you exist. So you examine your body, all of its scars, bruises, cellulite, stretch marks, wounds that have yet to be healed. And you tell yourself that you are worthy. And you stare in that mirror until you love yourself, until you believe it. Make this a daily practice and do it for as long as possible every day. Do it first thing in the morning or right before your bedtime or after the shower, whatever works for you. But I encourage you to do this. It's a practice that works. And a woman who loves herself will enter rooms differently. A woman who loves herself will walk into a room with confidence, and she will be noticed. And not out of arrogance, but because she is confident, because she was worthy, because she believes in herself.
And she does this and thinks this is how you do it. Because it worked for her. She probably did it once or a couple of times and immediately gets on and gives us advice. Now that she's emancipated, as she calls it, she's moving on, and she's doing this stuff. But let me tell you, from personal experience, if you stand in front of the mirror and look at all the flaws and convince yourself that all the flaws you see are great, they're your life story, which they are, it actually can depress you a little bit. Especially when you're older. You don't work. She's not talking about, let's find my flaws that I can work on. Just love yourself as you are. And that's fine, but it doesn't quite solve the problem. She goes on with that. Here's some more of her doing that.
But we have to consider how our actions affect the person around us as well. But the victim mentality of modern women is just out of this world. It is always somebody else's fault in their eyes. Let me just show you what I mean with these next clips.
Hey friends, Roberta here. I had a thought as I'm thinking, processing, reading about divorce. I heard a term today called suicidal empathy, and I don't think I've ever related to a term more than that. And basically the concept is that you sacrifice all of yourself for the person that you are in relationship with, whether it be a child or a mother or a father or a spouse. And basically you give all of yourself. You kill yourself. You die to yourself to make sure that that person or persons are thriving. And I realized today that that's what I've always done in all my relationships with my children, my spouse, my mother, sometimes even my sister.
And that's self-diagnosis, reading a term that they don't really understand, a clinical term or a made-up term by some life coach, crystal collecting, homeopathic, whatever person, and then attaching that to their lives. I swallowed myself for my husband. I swallowed myself for my children. I killed myself for them, and I wasn't there anymore. You look at this woman, no one killed her off. No one sucked her life away. You could tell by the tattoos, you could tell by the expression, you could tell by the body type. She just is full of herself. And she goes on with that. Do this.
Be praised and worshipped for doing basic things. Check it out.
So, thinking about motherhood and my own relationship with my mother, one of my children has experienced the loss of a friend to suicide in the past 24 hours. And this child has been away at college. And it was one of their very best friends. And all this child wanted to do was come home to mama. And what did this mama do? Got this baby on a plane and brought this baby home. Because that's what mothers do. It's been a hard day watching my child fall in and out of numbness and tears and pain but it's one of those things that I never had growing up. There was never a point in my life, and I'm 40, almost 43. There's never been a point in my life when I could go home to mama. When I could go to mom to be loved, for a hug, for security. Never. Never had that. Never had that desire, certainly. Desire has been there. But the availability has never been there. That trust, that security. There's been certainly moments in my life when I wanted my mom. I wanted someone to be my mom, to hold me, to make me feel secure.
And she turns this from her adult child, in college, turns this into something all about her and how wonderful she is for being that mom and supporting her child. But then she turns it into, I never could go back. My mom wasn't there. Now she's in her 40s. She's remembering back. Maybe she didn't have that kind of relationship with her mom. Maybe she didn't allow that kind of relationship with her mom. And she sort of slipped up there when she said, I didn't have the desire. Oh, but I had the desire, but the availability wasn't there. Meaning she turns it over into her mom not being available. Maybe her mom wasn't available emotionally. because she was never available emotionally to put back into that relationship with her mom. And that's very common. Of course, you want to go home to your mom when you're young or at any age. Even me, at 62, I wish my mom was still here and I'd go back. But I didn't live in my mother's presence all the time. And I just wanted to go back to be there, to have my family around me during the hard times. I wouldn't, as a man, give them everything that's inside of me. I just wanted them there. But what this one was talking about is something else. And she's turned her tragedy for her children into a TikTok video about her and how she's a better mother than her mother was. And she went through some hard times because her kid was going through some hard times. It's unbelievable. And she goes through all this. Let's look at a little bit more. She's turning the commonplace for this into something special.
Not happy internally, it doesn't matter how much flowers she gets for her actions, she will always be unsatisfied. Now finally, after realizing how hard these streets really are after leaving her marriage, this woman now enters the infamous healing journey.
Hi there, Roberta here. If you found this video, it's probably for you. I just want to say that it's okay if you love somebody who's hurt you. It's okay to long for somebody who's no longer a part of your life because of the damage they did to you. It's okay to be angry at that person for all of the pain that they caused you. It's okay to smile when you think about that person and all of the good times you had together. It's okay to long for that person, even though you know that they can no longer be a part of your life. It is okay to have feelings, and we are human, and we are full of complexities. And I just want to tell you that it's okay. Give yourself grace. You're healing. You're moving on. You're doing your best.
Yes. And in this monologue of hers, she talks about somebody was abusing you and terrible to you, but you can look back fondly on them. What this tells you, if you look read between the lines and look under, what she's saying is there were some good times, there were some bad times, but they weren't my fault. They hurt me. I didn't destroy the relationship. I had to get out of it because they did this or that or whatever. It's not taking accountability. It's healing yourself without accountability. She left the marriage. She walked away. Nothing she said in any of the other videos really talks about how bad her husband was, or what specifically he did. It was that she was no longer there. And through all the themes of this, it's all about her. It's all about how she feels in the moment. And she's making this video right now, all bright and sunny. Heal yourself. Forgive them for all the horrible things, but yeah, you can still love them and look back fondly on them, but keep true to yourself. Now, that's all this malarkey. And of course, I had to respond to that. The cult of me, a shared delusion, brainwashing those with low self-esteem and feeling for the first time since high school popular and noticed. They don't realize they are not being supported. They are being set up to fail. what better popcorn drama than that for those who live with it? And I'm talking about these people on TikTok who wade through all the forceful women saying, yeah, my life's great, I've left my husband, I've done all this. And you should too. And do the things, the scenes in the car, on the bed, dancing around the house, openly sitting there crying when you're not crying at all. This is very common, and they're sheep being led. And it's no different to me than in the 1970s when I saw what happened to them. The women, the wives, the mothers. It's no different. It's just now online, not at the PTA. And this is really, again, I'm showing some of the things on HL Talk That Thought, but there are other content creators doing this exact same theme and discussing, gotta watch out for these kind of women and look for the warning signs, but you're never going to see the warning signs. When I last video, I mentioned this 69-year-old who did all the things she wanted a better life.
I'm 69 and I left my husband 7 years ago. I was fed up with being part of the furniture. I didn't have an unhappy marriage. I just wanted a bit more excitement in my life. He was a good lover most of my life, but I still wanted a new adventure.
Welcome back, family. Today we are going to see why you should never completely change your life trajectory to accommodate a woman's needs by reviewing this 69-year-old woman who decided to leave her 41-plus-year-old marriage just because she wanted some excitement in her life. But before we watch some tears of regrets, let's see how excited and delusional she was when leaving her husband thinking that she could find better out there.
I'm 69 and I left my husband 7 years ago. I was fed up with being part of the furniture. I wanted to have a proper life again. Everyone got the shock of their lives when I left. My friends couldn't believe it. Most of all, my ex couldn't believe it. He never thought I'd leave. I mean, I didn't wish him any harm. I didn't have an unhappy marriage. I just wanted a bit more excitement in my life. And I was going to get it before I was 70. And I've only got 6 months to go. People stay in a relationship far too long when it's no good. And I can tell you something, when you are absolutely feeling like this is the end of the line, be brave, take a leap and just go, and you will never look back. Don't stay if you're not happy, because everyone deserves to be happy.
Real happiness comes from inside out and not the other way around. Unfortunately, even at 69, this woman still doesn't understand this simple concept of life. All she calls happiness is just a bunch of dopamine hit that she gets by living her life recklessly at 69 years of age. That is why women like this always feel the need to convince more women online to join them in this debauchery so that they can all trauma bond in their misery. Just look at how she is conducting herself in the beach at 69 years of age. And to be fair, there is really nothing wrong in wearing a bikini at the beach at that age as long as you are a little bit mindful of your surroundings. But the real problem here is the intention behind why she is doing it. She is really doing it because she wants attention from other men, and that is why she had to divorce her husband to do it. Here she is again trying to convince other women and herself that she made the right choice by leaving her marriage to go back in these streets to get pumped and dumped.
A lot of you were wondering why I left my husband when I said I wasn't in an unhappy marriage. Well, we didn't fight, there was no violence or anything like that, but I didn't feel I was living my life to the full. I didn't like living in the countryside when I'm really a city person. He was a good lover most of my life, but I still wanted a new adventure. There was a big age gap. Maybe that had something to do with it. We weren't on the same page anymore. There are many reasons people could decide that they've had enough. Many reasons.
And in this, I talked about a movie called Shirley Valentine, which I'll show you something about that. Oh. I'm going to bring this up on Wikipedia. Shirley Valentine is a 1989 British romantic comedy drama. Anyway, it's basically Pauline Collins plays the role of a middle-aged housewife of a bored 42-year-old working-class Liverpudlian white housewife whose life was initially enriching marriage, had settled into a narrow, unsatisfying rut, leaving few genuine friends and her childhood dreams unaccomplished, and she feels her husband and children treat her more like a servant. The usual stuff. And then she basically decides it's a very good movie, and I recommend watching this. But this isn't how this woman's life turned out. In Shirley Valentine, the woman took off, went to Greece without her husband, just packed up one day and went with a friend who basically ditched her so she can go off and play with young men. And the woman gets in a relationship with a Greek restaurant owner who was basically a player. And not that turned out bad, but at the end her husband comes and they sit and they start, maybe we can restart. I'm a new person. Can you accept me? And it's a beautiful movie, but this woman's life didn't turn out good at all. Not at all.
Can feel better about herself. Now, before she starts to really regret her life decision, let's just watch one more clip that shows how delusional this woman is by how she is trying so hard to convince herself that she is more valuable now at 69 than she was at 31. And trust me when I say she is failing so miserably. Check it out.
I'm 69, and this is me in my 30s, in a bikini on the Barrier Reef. I now don't mind wearing a bikini, even though I'm much older and actually more body confident than I was then. I didn't even think I looked good then. I actually don't care anymore. And I can sit on a beach, I can sit in the gardens, I can sit in the park in my bikini, and I don't give a damn because I feel good in myself. And why shouldn't I sit in a bikini? Some people say I should wear a swimming costume, but I don't feel comfortable in a swimming costume. So, what the hell? Here I am, at this age, enjoying life, ready for Love Island in my 70s. And who knows who I'll meet on my next beach holiday. I would like to say to all those ladies out there who don't dare wear a bikini or feel they're too old to wear a bikini, why don't you just do it? Why should you feel ashamed of yourself? It's just how you are now, and no one's going to like you any less for it. And if you embrace it, you will enjoy being who you are today. And that's what counts.
It didn't take long for this delusional woman to realize that she is only recreation use to the men she wants. Now all she does is complain online about how much all men are assholes.
I'm 69 and I'm dating. The one thing that 19-year-olds and 69-year-olds have in common, that the men we're dating are still assholes. Oh, they are indeed assholes.
No, ma'am. You need to get the facts straight. Men are asshole to only you because you are washed up and you've already hit the wall at full speed.
I've just met my two favorite guys on this party. They're so yummy, so lovely. But guess what? They're both getting married in the next couple of months. But hey ho, I'm not going to give up because there's plenty more fish in the sea.
You've already got your chance of a happy ending, and you blew it because you thought that you could do better.
I don't understand men. I'm on these dating apps, and I think they all play games. I mean, I'm dating men over 70, and I say, well, shall we meet for a drink? Maybe a coffee? Nothing. And I get so upset. What have they got to lose, for God's sake?
This is just sad. She is trying so hard to put on a front on social media by making jokes about how miserable her dating life is, but we all know that there is a lot of truth behind her fake laughs. She keeps on making stupid videos about F-boys and how they keep on pumping and dumping her to try to cover the pain she is really feeling deep inside. And the tragedy is that women like her usually dump all their traumas onto innocent family members or friends. And in this case, it is her son that she considers as a son husband that is her emotional tampon, as you may see on your screens right now. The real question is, what will happen when this son finally decides to be a man and have a life of his own and focus on his own family? Because right now, his relationship with his mother may actually be a barrier on his own development without realizing it. At the end of the day, this woman misses her family's love very much, and her soul knows it. And that is why she is going to cry like a baby after experiencing that family love one more time in this next clip.
I just realise how lucky I am to be so loved by my family. It's just unbelievably overwhelming. And my friends too. I just never expected all of that yesterday. And I'm not crying out of sadness, I'm crying out of being overwhelmed and happy.
No, that's not happy. That's deep, soul burning depression and missing what she used to have with family. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. She tried to convince herself so hard that her life is wonderful and that her relationships are wonderful and she's still vibrant and young. And you can be vibrant and young and eccentric all you want. But you left your marriage, not because it was an unhappy marriage, not because it was an isolating marriage, but because you wanted excitement in your life. And I responded, of course, well, the title is wrong, not instantly. She's 69 and left her husband 7 years ago. Her story immediately brings Shirley Valentine 1989 to mind. Maybe she saw that film. Fantastic one, by the way, but she seemed to have taken the concept too far. She wasn't miserable, just restless, feeling like part of the furniture after 41 years of marriage. Stability wasn't enough. She craved excitement, something new, maybe even new relationships. That's understandable, but watching her videos, none of it feels natural. They seem staged, exaggerated, a performance more for herself than anyone else. These TikTok-fueled midlife reinventions often boil down to trying to convince themselves and others that this version of life is real. They chase visibility, hoping that if they get famous enough, the reinvention will truly take hold. Odds are it won't. She looks her age, and no, she isn't Sophia Loren. And I say that about Sophia Loren because Sophia Loren had class, and in my opinion, this woman never did. And I'm not picking on her. I'm not saying that she should grow old gracefully. I'm not growing old gracefully. And if you want to be outrageous, be outrageous. But don't dump your life, your family, your entire world so you can be a celebrity on TikTok for a little bit. Because there's only going to be a finite amount of time. And don't listen to other people like her trying to convince other women that you need to leave your husband. It's happy marriage, doesn't matter. Go out, you can have this life too. And it doesn't turn out that way. And all the fake laughing and all the misery is just part of what they get. So seems to be a social issue with the internet, but it's not. As I told you before, in 1970s, it's all exactly the same thing. Women thought, and this was the 70s where, everybody was free love and we should go out and do this and swing and all this stuff. Believe me, I was young then, but believe me, I saw it, and I saw a lot of families destroyed, both from the husband's side, who wanted to go find himself, all men like me with hair down like Ben Franklin and wearing denim and all that stuff, divorcing their wives and wives divorcing their husbands because their social circle convinced them that they should. You gotta grow up. And I don't mean grow out. You gotta grow up and then blossom out and become a human being. You don't remain a sapling. And that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again at another time. Check out the links in the description if you want to see the full videos, and check out my other videos. Thank you again. Take care.